away, leaving Oliver behind. Oliver said, "Oh, what will I do? They left me alone. Oh no, he's gonna take his treasure. He'll think it's me." So he ran with them. No matter how injury is gonna hurt, he just ran. And then Mr. Brownlow put his hand in his pocket and he saw Oliver running away and he said, "Stop, thief!" And then when they heard Oliver saying, "Stop, thief," when they heard Mr. Brownlow saying, "Stop, thief," Artful Dodger and Charlie Bates ran like good citizens, like saying, "Stop, thief!" And then everyone ran with all their energy and never stopped until they caught him. But everyone in town joined the chase and they kept on running to catch Oliver. And actually, Oliver wasn't the thief. But no matter if he was a thief or not, they just kept on catching him. Just because he didn't do anything, that means he needs to get a punishment. That's not going right at all. But since Mr. Brownlow accused him, everyone in town started to join the chase. Everyone joined the chase just because they didn't like thieves in their neighborhood. And the people who've been kind to Oliver, like the old gatekeeper, joined the chase too. And they all ran until Oliver fainted. And then he closed his eyes and blood bleeding out of his mouth. And you know how he hurt himself? Because a man who's really angry at Oliver, but it actually wasn't his fault. And Mr. Brownlow said, "I think he wasn't the thief," said Mr. Brownlow. And Mr. Brownlow said, "I think he's hurt." And then a big, tall man said, "I hurt him, and I hurt my hand doing it," said the big, old man. And they all left. The police caught Oliver. He was sent to court. He was told guilty and was finished. But the bookshop owner saw it all, and he was sentenced to be free. Oh, that's a happy ending. But wait, it's not yet the ending yet. He was brought to Mr. Brownlow's house, where he was comforted, taken care of for like weeks, months, and years passed. Oliver felt much better, and he was able to sit, but too weak to walk. After a few months, he recovered, and Mr. Brownlow was delighted to see him happily. And they saw a picture of Agnes at the top, and Oliver. They looked similar. Could that be his mother? But they didn't mind. They might not be. But as Fagin heard the news from Charlie Bates and Artful Dodger, he beat them up, sending them to the ground. And they hit him with a gray silver pot, which was stolen from a house. I don't know. Maybe Fagin had it, but actually I want to tell you that he was beaten by a silver pot. While he was trying to hit Artful Dodger, he actually hit Charlie Bates, and he fell to the ground really hurt. Okay, and so as he got hurt, when you get hurt, you cry. And when you cry, it's loud. And when it's loud, that means you scream. And as he screamed all over, it woke up Dempsey and Bill Sykes and Bullseye and all the family. And they rushed to Fagin's house and said, "What's the ruckus about to?" And Charlie Bates, Artful Dodger, and Fagin explained. Okay, now I'll continue with the life of Oliver. Okay, so when he was adopted by Mr. Brownlow, he felt happy. He was given the grandest clothes. He didn't feel like an orphan anymore. And since he saw Mr. Brownlow's very suspicious face, he said, "Don't send me away, sir. I like it here. Please. I like this nice luxury, and I don't want to be an orphan again. Please don't throw me out. I'll do anything for you. I'll be your servant. I will do anything for you. I'll do everything. Even though you punish me, just please let me stay." It's like whistling. But actually, he was allowed to say. He was just suspicious about his mother and Oliver. That made Oliver faint once more. He always faints when he sees something really suspicious. Okay, so Fagin and his group gang started to kidnap him. Nancy kidnapped him. Oliver once saw the ruckus and forced him to go home. With all the forcing, he went home to Fagin's gang. He was not well fed. He got ill in prison because actually he wasn't sent to a police prison. He was sent in Fagin's prison because he's now not. He didn't like Oliver. But when the mystery man comes, and the mystery man is named Monks. Yeah, Monks is one of Oliver's brothers, and he's the long-lost brother of Oliver in his whole entire life. And Monks was there to say to Fagin, "Do you know Oliver?" And then he said, "Oh yes, you really look like a cop. Please don't arrest me." But actually, he wasn't a cop. He was just there. "Oh, can you do me a favor?" he said. And then Fagin said, "Of course, I'll do any favor you do. And whatever you ask me, I'll do it. Just tell me what's a favor now." Okay. And then he said, he whispered it all to Fagin. "Let me tell it to you." He said that he wants to turn Oliver into a thief. And Fagin agreed. They sent Oliver out of prison and told him to participate in a robbery to make just one sound. And then, while doing it, Oliver hit a vase. And then the owners woke up, shot him in the arm, and Mabushi fell to the ground, unconscious. Hey, wake up! Okay, so as he fell unconscious, he didn't know what happened, and he fainted once more. So, you see he died, right? Because every time you hear gunshots, that means they're dead. Boom! But actually, he's just shot in his arm, so he has a chance to survive. Just because that bullet wasn't that strong. Actually, it was just like a flame of fire on the bullet. And if it's shot on the arm, Oliver's lucky because when it's shot on the arm, it still has a chance to survive. But after 20 hours, he's gonna be dead. But luckily, they removed the bullets and healed the wound. And Oliver recovered a few days. And he landed in a house with Mrs. Maylie and Mrs. Rose. Mrs. Maylie and Mrs. Rose are the keepers of the house. Okay. Are you excited to hear this part? They didn't even get angry to Oliver. Aren't you happy? Because Oliver is a kind boy and you love that character, right? He's really honest, right? So they healed him and they treated him gently until his skin started to grow up and he was healthy again. They really loved the child as if they were his own son. They treated him with tender, loving care, like what a plant needs, like the sun, which is the food of Oliver, and the rain like the drink he served, and the soil like the blanket which covered Oliver to keep him warm, and especially the human who cares for the plant, like the people who care for Oliver. It's so sweet, but it won't happen for long. When he was reached in the house of Mrs. Maylie, Fagin's gang was discovered. It was the end of Fagin's gang, but before he got arrested, they said, first I wanted to tell you, Fagin's gang will be disappearing later. Before I tell you the death of Bill Sikes and Nancy. Okay, Nancy died just because he helped Oliver from getting killed. Isn't that sweet to care for someone and risking your own lives just to save the person that you love? Nancy was like a true sister to Oliver because, or like a true mom. Not a true mom, a truest mom. It's like the true mom of Oliver, but actually she wasn't. She just did that to save Oliver's life from getting murdered by Bill Sikes and Fagin and Monks, his long-lost brother who wants to get the inheritance. So actually Monks was the most evilest person among all because he wanted to turn his own brother into a thief. How could a brother ever do that to his own family? Isn't that right? It's not even nice to do that. And he's even mean because he's just doing that just to get his own money from his father who just died? That's totally unfair, right, guys? Agree with me? Good. So Nancy was murdered. She was hit on the head by a big log 3 times, and she was stabbed 1 time. Isn't that really unfair to do that to your own wife? That means you're a really cruel person. And Bill Sikes just did that. And Bullseye was really upset to lose his only friend, Nancy. And he cried and said, "Ow, ow, 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 ow." And then the police heard it. And Bill Sikes rushed to the tower quickly. Like this. This is how fast he went. Just because he didn't want to die from the police and he didn't want to be in prison. He doesn't want to be caught and he doesn't want to be sent to prison and he doesn't want to be hanged like Fagin. So he rushed up to the top, holding a rope. Bullseye was there, waiting to his own master, looking up, and he tied the rope. But accidentally, there was a big, bad problem. He accidentally hung himself with the rope because while he tied it to his waist, the rope got loose. It went all up to his head and then it got tight while he's pulling. He accidentally made a knot and then Bullseye! He went to the ground and he was hanged, like the name of the dog, named Bullseye. And he went there and he was hanging. And Bullseye, the dog, he did like this. He put his paws up to his owner's legs and crying out loud like this. "Ow, ow, ow," like he did to Nancy. And now the dog was left alone. Who would adopt him? Will he go to the animal shelter? I don't know. But actually, it was sad news for Nancy, Bill Sikes, and Fagin. They were all killed. And especially Charlie Bates. He tried to change his ways, and you know what? This is your favorite part. He became an honest citizen in the country, but not lucky for the Artful Dodger, because he didn't want to change his ways, and he ended up in prison, and he needed to wait there a long years until he changes, or if not, he's gonna die. And Charlie Bates became a nice, honest citizen to his country, And never.
Who's Charlie Bates?
He's one of the gang who stole. And since he changed his ways, he never pickpocketed ever again. And you know what?
happened to Faggin's money?
Faggin's money?
Or?
No, it was given back. And you know what? Faggin's treasures were given all to the poor people in town. And you know what? Mrs. Rose was Oliver's aunt and Agnes's long lost sister. And Oliver said, "You're not just my aunt, you're like a just sister to me." And Mr. Brownlow adopted Oliver, your favorite character. And Mrs. Maylie, Mr. Brownlow, and Oliver lived happily ever after. The end. Bye, guys.